Hello people and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to discuss a perfume from the house of Prada from the Infusion line. It's in fact Infusion de Figue by Prada, which means infusion of fig, and it's a great addition to the line of the Infusion line that I regard as a very highly smellable. Can you say smellable? Yeah, I mean very highly elegant line of perfumes from Prada that have their own take. In the realm of releases of colognes, it's kind of like situated itself as a line that does a really good work in isolating an ingredient and giving it its respect, but under the DNA of the original Prada Iris, and even kind of like leaving that territory. So Infusion de Figue is a great fragrance that was, the nose behind it is Daniela Rochandrier, and Daniela Rochandrier is actually responsible for most of the perfumes in the Prada catalog. Mind you that Prada did change contract in terms of distribution and who makes their perfumes, from Puig in Spain to L'Oreal, that probably they thought will give them a bigger distribution because L'Oreal is bigger. But I really find it that since that move a few years ago, you cannot really find a lot of Prada fragrances anywhere. And the private line itself is very hard to get or often not in stock, so they should take care of it. But anyway, Infusion de Figue is another beautiful take on figs. And I know that a lot of people, they tend to always kind of like counterpart fig perfumes with the icon from Diptyque, which is Philosopus, which is kind of like the prototype of what is called the fig fragrance. And a lot of people, whether it's on Fragrantica or in our YouTube realm, always pointing things that smell like fig or have figs in them to next to Philosopus, and always to compare between the two, even though they don't smell alike. And in fact, you had a lot of great releases of figs, fig-oriented perfumes in the last few years. Some of them from Loewe, some of them from Healy, and some of them from Pierre Guillaume. You have a lot of great releases that do another take on fig, and I think the Prada one is really beautiful. And we see here actually very intellectual thinking of perfume, which kind of like co-lives with the Prada mentality. And we have notes here of fig, of course, of mandarin, galbanum, and mastica. And I would say that the star, of course, except the fig, and I don't think it's a fruity kind of like fig here. I think they use the leaves. If any one of you ever traveled in the Mediterranean basin or the Middle East, you'll be aware that there's a lot of fig trees around. And if you ever kind of like crush the leaves of figs compared to the fruit itself, when you open and it's very ripe, so they have a similar smell, but it's very different because the fruity one, of course, is fruity and ripe, and the leaf does smell like a fig, but it's more like herbal and could be sometimes very smoky, I would say, but not really like smell like smoke. And actually, what is special about this fragrance from Prada is that I think they use the leaves of the figs and maybe some fruit, but it doesn't smell overly fruity in the way that it's like sweet and fruity and ripe. It has a very, very, very nice concoction of using a resin, which is the mastica. And mastica is a tree that is broadly used in Middle Eastern cooking. It's called mastic, and actually there's a Hebrew word which is called mastic, which means bubble gum, because people used to chew on the resin for bad breath at the times. And when you chew on a resin of mastica, at first it could be very bitter, but then after it develops in your mouth, it can taste a little bit piney and a little bit like cedar-like, and it kind of perfumes the mouth. And that's how people used to perfume their mouths a long time ago when there were no toothpastes around. And this resin, unlike myrrh, that also comes from the Arab Peninsula mainly, myrrh could be really heavy, if it's overused in a concoction, even though it does have the ability to take something and make it very mysterious and airy and cloud-like and kind of like oomph a perfume up. And the mastica here and the fig originated in the Middle East as a fruit, as a genus. And to take mastica, which is also heavily used in Middle Eastern cooking, in desserts, in ice cream, bubble gums, you can find it in Turkey, you can find it through Levantine cooking. The resin is used usually for whether meat or desserts, and it kind of like oomphs up the fig here, and it creates a very beautiful kind of like humdrum cloud of fig, but also it's very airy and it's very deep at the same time. Like it creates a mystery, but an airiness of whiffs of figs and mastica, and the mandarin, of course, gives it kind of like envelops it. And then when it dries down, there is galbanum that comes into play, galbanum being one of my favorite ingredients, and it smells very green and smoky, but at the same time very woody. But it doesn't smell overly woody, it smells extremely elegant, it smells like effortless, going to dinner on a vacation or some sun-drenched island in the Mediterranean. And it smells very kind of like exuberating culture and comfort, and just smells really, really good and happy. But it does give you a lot of nuances throughout the day, and you know, it just creates something which is very personal and very, very, very lovely. And it's another great work from Daniela Rochandrier in the Prada line, and something I really like to use. I also find it that, of course, like the no-brainer is to use it at summer, but in the winter it works pretty damn well, and it smells very nice in a cold weather. It does something because of the galbanum and because of the mastica, the resins in it, and the green shrubs lift it up to be an all-year rounder of something very elegant and very intimate that you should definitely get as spring is coming along, and of course summer. This was my review for Prada Infusion de Figue. Go and smell it, get it. It's really beautiful fragrance, and this was my review. And if you enjoyed this, so please like and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye.